Imagine you're just walking through the woods on a beautiful afternoon, and you see this vibrant, perfect blossom.
Right, just a totally normal day.
Yeah. So you snap the stem to give it to your kid, and suddenly you feel this like warm, sticky liquid on your fingers.
Oh,
You
man.
look down, and the plant is bleeding, like real, actual blood is pooling in your hands.
Which, I mean, to a modern listener, that sounds like the cold open to a horror movie.
Totally.
But to the ancient Greeks, that was a daily, terrifying possibility, like every single time you stepped outside your front door.
Wow. Well, welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive. If you're joining us today, you are probably looking for a shortcut, right? You want to be incredibly well-informed on this stuff.
Without reading a literal mountain of ancient texts.
Exactly. You want those deep insights, those aha moments. And today, our stack of sources is, well, it's really unique. We aren't just looking at the main famous chapters of Edith Hamilton's classic book, Mythology.
No, we are digging into the back of the book.
We're looking at the appendix.
Yeah, specifically this alphabetical, rapid-fire list of lesser-known myths. Because, everyone knows about Zeus chucking thunderbolts or Hercules fighting the Hydra.
Right, the blockbuster stories.
Exactly. But these smaller, bite-sized tales, this is where the Greeks really explored the everyday anxieties of life. Pride, nature, love, and the terrifying prospect of actually getting exactly what you wish for.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission for this deep dive isn't just to read a list. We're going to extract the hidden human truths, the bizarre ancient life hacks, and the wild transformations buried in these stories.
And it really all starts with one just absolute fundamental rule of the ancient world.
Such as?
Know your place. I mean, the cosmic hierarchy was absolute. If you were immortal and you claimed equality with the gods, the pushback wasn't just bad, it was catastrophic.
Yeah, like fatal flexing.
Exactly. Let's look at Arachne. She was a peasant girl, but arguably, the greatest weaver in the world. But she makes the fatal error of challenging Minerva, which is the Roman name for Athena, to a weaving contest. And Minerva is literally the Olympian goddess of weaving.
So that's the ultimate act of mortal hubris right there.
Oh, completely.
But wait, here is the crazy twist. They both set up their looms, right? And they use these heaps of beautiful rainbow threads woven with gold and silver.
Beautiful stuff.
And Arachne's tapestry isn't inferior at all. The source text explicitly says her work was entirely equal to the goddesses.
Which, ironically, is the worst possible outcome for Arachne.
Right, because Minerva doesn't just say, hey, good job, it's a tie.
No, she flies into a furious, jealous rage. She slits Arachne's web from top to bottom and then just physically beats the girl around the head with her heavy wooden weaving shuttle.
It's so brutal.
Yeah.
And the humiliation is so total that Arachne actually hangs herself in disgrace.
But of course, Minerva isn't quite finished. Out of some twisted, sense of pity, maybe. She sprinkles Arachne's lifeless body with a magic liquid and turns her into a spider.
So she gets to weave forever, but as a reviled little pest.
Right.
It's like flexing on a billionaire on social media, except the billionaire owns the literal fabric of reality and just turns you into an arachnid for the insult.
That's a perfect analogy. And we see that same brutal dynamic with Marsyas.
Oh, the satyr. But...
Yeah, he's a satyr who finds a flute. Athena had actually invented it, but she threw it away because playing it made her cheeks puff out and ruin her profile.
Wow. Vain much.
Very. So Marsyas picks it up, masters it, and he gets cocky. He challenges Apollo to a musical contest.
Bad idea.
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
Apollo wins, obviously. And his punishment for Marsyas, just for daring to compete with a god, is to flay him alive.
Skinned alive over a flute recital. It really makes you wonder, if Zeus and the Olympians are supposedly these all-powerful, confident rulers of the cosmos, why are they so deeply insecure?
Right, they're so petty.
Like, take Salmoneus. He decides he just wants to be Zeus. So he builds this trick chariot, covered in clanging brass to mimic the sound of thunder.
Yeah, he's driving around town chucking lit firebrands at people.
Demanding that people worship him as the thunderer.
What's fascinating here is that Salmoneus isn't necessarily just a crazy, arrogant king. If we look closely at the anthropological roots, Salmoneus likely represents a primitive weather magician.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, imitating rain and thunder was an ancient, practical way that early agricultural societies actually tried to summon a storm for their crops.
Okay, so it's not just an ego trip. It's literally a clash of religions.
Exactly. This primitive earthly magic clashed directly with the new formalized religion of Olympus, so the myth serves as, theological propaganda.
Right, because the real Zeus sends a crash of actual thunder and lightning
Yeah.
and just strikes Salmoneus dead.
It's the new gods wiping out the old practices.
It basically functions as a cosmic mafia protection racket, like step out of line and the universe puts out a hit on you.
Nobody is safe.
Even Sisyphus falls victim to this. We all know his punishment, rolling the rock, but listen to his actual crime.
It's so unfair.
Sisyphus sees a mighty eagle, which is Zeus in disguise, kidnap a maiden named Aegina. And when her father, the river god Aesopus, comes desperately looking for her, Sisyphus just tells him the truth.
He snitches on the king of the gods.
He just points and says, Zeus took her.
And for that act of truth-telling, Sisyphus is condemned to Hades to roll a rock up a hill for eternity. Meanwhile, Aesopus, the grieving father, tries to fight back, but Zeus effortlessly drives him away with thunderbolts.
The universe demands absolute submission.
Yes.
And you also have Eryxonius.
Oh, the half-man, half-serpent infant?
Yes. Athena gives him in a closed chest to the three daughters of Cecrops with strict orders. Do not open this box.
And of course they peek.
They peek. And for that, Athena drives them completely mad and they jump off the Acropolis. But, you know, it wasn't just the gods being brutal. Mortals took notes. Humans were doing this to each other, too.
Oh, human politics in these myths is just a total bloodbath.
Right. Look at Antiope. She was treated horribly by a woman named Dirce. So Antiope's twin sons, Zethus and Amphion, avenge her by tying Dirce to a raging bull by her hair.
Just horrifying. Or Tyro's twin sons, Peleus and Neleus. They hunt down a woman named Cetero who abused their mother. Cetero actually flees into the sacred temple of Hera for sanctuary.
Which usually means you're safe.
Usually. But the twins butcher her right there on the altar, completely defying the goddess.
And Merope's son, Epitus. He was hidden away, but he returns home pretending to be his own murderer.
Such a wild strategy.
Just to trick and assassinate Polyphontes, the man who stole his father's throne. So, okay, if challenging the gods gets you crushed and getting involved in human drama gets you tied to a bull, what happens when you just try to live quietly and mind your own business?
Well, you often end up just becoming part of the landscape. In Greek mythology, the line between humanity and nature is, it's almost non-existent.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because nature in these sources isn't just a pretty dead backdrop. Let's go back to the bleeding tree from the intro.
The story of Dryope.
Right, she's just a mom out walking with her sister and her baby. She plucks those lotus blossoms, the tree bleeds, and she realizes she hasn't snapped a plant. She's injured the nymph Lotus, who was hiding in the form of a tree.
And Dryope tries to run away, but she can't. Her feet are literally rooted to the earth. Bark starts growing upward, just encasing her whole body.
And before the bark covers her face, her final desperate warning to her child is to never pluck flowers because, and I quote, every bush may be a goddess in disguise.
It's a terrifying cautionary tale.
It really is. So nature, to the Greeks, was like an ancient, magical, do not disturb sign. Does this mean they just walked around utterly terrified of stepping on a twig in case it was somebody's cousin?
Well, it enforced a state of radical empathy and mindfulness. You had to respect your environment because it was literally alive. Look at Rhoecus. He's walking in the woods, sees a falling oak tree, and thoughtfully props it up.
Which is nice of him.
Yeah. And the dryad of the tree is so thrilled, she promises him anything. He asks for her love, and she says yes, but tells him she'll send a bee as her messenger to arrange the meeting.
But Rhoecus is, like, hanging out with his buddies, right?
Yeah, he gets distracted, a bee buzzes around his head, and he carelessly swats it and hurts it.
Big mistake.
Huge. The angry dryad is so furious at his disrespect for her tiny messenger that she blinds him.
Wow. But, I mean, it wasn't all just getting blinded and turned into trees, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes nature provided.
Oh, definitely. When a maiden named Amamon was being chased by a satyr, Poseidon intervened to save her, and he created a miraculous spring in her honor.
And then there's the ultimate natural hack. The cornucopia, the horn of plenty.
Right, though the sources actually have conflicting origin stories for it.
Yeah, some say it belonged to Amalthea, who was either a goat that fed the infant Zeus, or maybe a nymph who owned the goat.
But the Latin tradition claims the horn actually belonged to the river god Achelous. He transformed into a massive bull to wrestle Hercules, and Hercules violently broke off one of his horns.
Right, but regardless of whose horn it was, the magic is that it was eternally full of whatever fruits and flowers you desired. But, you know, humans didn't just merge with the earth and plants, they became the sky, too.
The stars are heavily populated by mortals.
Like Clytie, a maiden who loved the unwilling sun god so much that she just sat outdoors pining. She tracked him across the sky with her eyes every day until she literally turned into a sunflower.
And then there's Callisto. She was an innocent woman, but Hera was jealous, so she turned Callisto into a bear. Years later, Callisto's own son is hunting and almost shoots her.
But Zeus swoops in, right?
Yeah, Zeus intervenes and makes them the Great and Lesser Bear constellations. But Hera is still so petty that she forbids those specific stars from ever setting below the ocean horizon. They can never rest.
There was also Orion, the giant hunter. He was blinded, healed by the eastern sun, but later killed by Artemis. Now he's up there chasing the Pleiades forever.
The 7 daughters of Atlas. And what's cool is the Greeks noted that even though there are 7 sisters, only 6 stars are actually visible.
Oh, that's a neat detail. And they share the sky with the Hyades, the 6 rainy stars who nursed baby Dionysus. Okay, so if the gods are angry at you, they crush you. If you just lay low, you might turn into a sunflower or a bear.
Pretty much.
But what happens if the gods actually like you and they want to grant you a massive favor?
This raises an important question, really, about how the ancients viewed life. Because in these myths, divine gifts are almost always worse than curses.
Yeah, like a trap. Look at Aurora, the goddess of the dawn, and her mortal husband Tithonus. She loves him, so she asks Zeus to make him immortal.
But she forgets the fine print. She forgets to ask for eternal youth.
Oh, it's brutal. Tithonus doesn't stop aging. He just grows older and weaker, and he babbles endlessly in a locked room.
Until he shrinks down into a skinny, noisy little grasshopper. Just endless decay. Though, fun fact, their son Memnon supposedly had a statue in Egypt that twanged like a harp string every morning at dawn.
That's cool, but eternal aging is still a nightmare. Now, contrast that with the brothers Biton and Cleobus. They were these devoted sons who literally yoked themselves to a heavy car and dragged it through the heat and dust just so their mother could go see a statue of Hera.
And the mother is so proud. She prays and asks Hera to give her sons the absolute best gift in her power.
And instantly, the 2 boys sink to the ground, dead in a peaceful sleep. Wait, I have to push back here.
Go for it.
The absolute best gift Hera could think of is death. That sounds incredibly bleak to a modern listener. Were the Greeks just deeply pessimistic?
It wasn't pessimism, it was philosophy. It's about quality over quantity. If you look at Tithonus rotting away forever, the Greeks believed that life guaranteed inevitable suffering, checking out painlessly at the absolute peak of your physical prime and virtue.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they viewed it as successfully avoiding the decline of life.
We actually see that with Chiron, too, the only immortal centaur. He was wise, good, taught Achilles and Aesculapius, but he gets into a wine dispute with the other centaurs, and Hercules accidentally wounds him with incurable hydra poison.
And because he's immortal, he can't die. He's just trapped in eternal agony. Finally, Zeus permits Chiron to die just to escape the pain. Death was literally a gift.
Divine attention is just dangerous all around, even for Leto. She was loved by Zeus and pregnant with his kids, but Hera barred her from giving birth on any land on Earth.
She just wandered in agony until she found Delos, which wasn't real land. It was a barren, floating rock.
And it welcomed her. And instantly, 4 lofty pillars rose from the seafloor to anchor it forever, making it this renowned, heaven-built isle.
That danger of divine attention perfectly explains the maiden Marpessa. She actively avoided it. She was carried off by a mortal named Idas.
But then Apollo falls in love with her.
Right, and Idas actually fights the god for her. Zeus steps in and says, Marpessa, you choose.
And she chooses the mortal. Because she reasons that Apollo is a god, and the second she grows old, he's going to abandon her. She knew the math.
She was smart. The Greeks were hyper aware of how fast youth fades. They even had a lament named after Linus, a beautiful youth torn to pieces by dogs. His name became the Greek cry Elenon.
Whoa, for Linus.
Yeah, representing all lovely young life withered too soon. Sometimes the only way out was to accidentally step out of time completely. Like Epimenides, the boy who fell asleep in a cave looking for a sheep and woke up 57 years later.
Just skipped all the drama.
Exactly.
All right, so we talked about victims, people becoming trees, and avoiding divine gifts. Let's talk about the exceptional mortals, the ones who hack the system.
The people who took action.
Yeah, one of my favorites is Melampus. He saves 2 baby snakes. And later, he's sleeping, and these snakes slither up and start licking his ears.
Which is horrifying.
Getting your ears licked by snakes in your sleep sounds like a nightmare. But he wakes up, And suddenly he can understand the language of birds and worms. It's like plugging a USB drive into your brain to download Animal Language 1.0. It's the ultimate ancient life hack.
And he becomes a famous soothsayer. He even saves himself from a collapsing roof because he hears the worms inside saying the beam is gnawed through.
That's amazing.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows that the universe rewards mortals who lean into its weirdness. Like Aristaeus, the beekeeper whose bees all died.
Oh,
He has to go wrestle the terrifying shape-shifting sea god Proteus. He just holds on to him through all these monster transformations until the god gives up and tells him the secret. Sacrifice some animals, return 9 days later, and boom, new swarm of bees.
that intense engagement with the bizarre really pays off. And they could use animals as allies, too. Arion was a master poet on a ship with murderous sailors. He begs to sing one last song, throws himself into the sea, and his music actually enchants these dolphins who carry him to land.
Or Ibycus. He's mortally wounded by robbers. As he's dying, he calls upon a flock of cranes passing overhead.
And then later, those robbers are sitting in a crowded open theater.
Right, and the cranes suddenly appear overhead. One of the robbers panics and yells out, "The cranes of Ibycus, the Avengers!"
And they completely expose themselves. And you even have miraculous armies in these myths. During a plague, King Aeacus prays to Zeus, and Zeus transforms an ant colony into the Myrmidons.
This brave, thrifty human army.
Yeah. And on the flip side, you have the Amazons, a fierce nation of warrior women known as men-haters, living around the Caucasus. They were so powerful they invaded Lycia, Phrygia, and Attica, and even fought the Greeks at Troy under Queen Penthesilea.
The Greeks respected that kind of raw human power, especially when it came to tragic love. Look at Hero and Leander. Hero is a priestess of Aphrodite, and Leander swims the dangerous Hellespont every single night just to see her, guided by her torch.
Until a storm blows the torch out and he drowns, and she throws herself in to join him. It transcends all the divine meddling.
But that same passion has a dark side. Take Scylla. She falls madly in love with the enemy, King Minos, who is attacking her city.
Oh, this was rough.
Her father, King Nisus, has this magical purple lock of hair that keeps the city invincible. Scylla sneaks in, cuts her father's magical lock, and gives it to Minos.
She betrays her entire city for a crush.
And Minos is just violently repulsed by her treason. He rejects her. She frantically chases his boat into the water, and an eagle swoops down and attacks her.
Which is her transformed father, right?
Exactly. And then she turns into a bird herself. It's just tragedy on top of tragedy.
Wow. We have covered so much ground today. We've navigated the deadly egos of the gods. We've learned to respect bleeding trees. We've realized eternal life is a trap. And we've figured out how to download bird language. So what does this all mean? Why should you, the listener, care about these brief alphabetical myths today?
Because these aren't just dusty old stories. They are timeless reflections on how we handle power, how we interact with our environment, and that very universal human truth that we really must be careful what we wish for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to leave you with one final thought. Think back to Sisyphus, who we mentioned in section 1. We always think of Sisyphus as the ultimate symbol of meaningless labor rolling that rock up a hill forever. But remember why he was punished.
Right, the snitching.
He didn't try to steal fire. He didn't cheat death. He told a grieving father the truth about Zeus kidnapping his daughter. Was Sisyphus actually history's first whistleblower? Does his myth secretly teach us that speaking truth to ultimate power is a guaranteed way to get crushed? And maybe, just maybe, his real punishment wasn't the heavy rock, but the permanent silencing of his voice. Something for you to mull over long after this deep dive ends.